Jesus Freak, the Reluctant Hero, Chapter 11, Brother's Keeper. What if God, although choosing to show his wrath and make his power known, bore with great patience the objects of his wrath prepared for destruction? What if he did this to make the riches of his glory known to the objects of his mercy, whom he prepared in advance for glory, even us, whom he also called, not only from the Jews, but also from the Gentiles? Chad mumbles as his finger glides across the words in his Bible. It has been a couple of weeks since Chad received his weaponry from his new ally, Max. He has trained every day with his cross-shaped meteor hammer, Meteor Cross, and has even used it to stop a robbery in progress. Yes, Chad has actually been quite busy as Jesus Freak since he started to wait for God to tell him where to go and when. God has given him several assignments and victory in each situation. True, some of the crimes were small, such as vandalism and petty theft, but the fact still remains that Jesus Freak always came out on top. Chad stops to consider the words that he is reading. The sound of the news on the television in the family room is clear and distracting for him. Yet another death associated with a rise in gang-related crime, and this outside of the lawless zone borders. Some critics say that this could be the result of allowing things to remain as they have been in the lawless zone. It is widely believed that the predominant power of the lawless zone is that really bad gang, and our sources indicate that TRBG is spreading into areas outside of the lawless zone. The TRBG is not limited to Bethlehem. In fact, they have factions all over the country. It was their arrival in the area that helped to create the lawless zone as we know it. While they may or may not be responsible for this tragic crime, it is becoming evident that they are slowly creeping out into areas that they have not been welcomed into before, the female news anchor's voice asserts. Chad doesn't want to hear the report, but it invades his ears and usurps his thoughts. He tries to shake it by literally shaking his head, but it is an ineffective remedy at best. Chad looks at the words in his Bible again and rehearses them, trying to get a deeper understanding, but the newscast overshadows his ability to focus. God, I'm trying to read your word, but that TV is too loud. I don't want to start anything with Karen by turning it down. I know I already started praying, but I'm going to have to go to the dojo to finish my hour time. Why not? I'll keep being distracted by the TV. Do you want me to go tell Karen to turn down the TV? Okay. I guess I will just go back to trying to concentrate. What? Now? It's so early. There will be people everywhere. But what about my prayer? I have to finish my prayer and reading first. Okay. Nevertheless, your will be done, not my own. Chad's dialogue leads him to quickly get himself together and prepare to leave. He tells Karen something about going early to work on the ministry project, and she looks at him with slight confusion on her face for a second, but then tells him that she will see him when he gets back. Chad always knew it was possible, but this is the first time that God has sent him out into the streets in full uniform in broad daylight. Chad is a bit nervous because at this busy time of morning, people will be all over the place. Chad arrives at the store that he first went to when trying to be a hero without waiting for God's guidance. He feels a bit awkward because of his history of going there and finding nothing, but at the same time, he is slightly relieved. The store is just off the D-line, so he knows that there won't be many people around to see him. But just in case, this time, he wears his outfit but covers it with a long, suspicious trench coat. Chad exits his car and suddenly gets the feeling he should put his mask on. Chad looks around and does not see anyone paying any special attention to him, but is still reluctant because it is in broad daylight. What if someone sees him? Do I have to? Okay, nevertheless, your will be done and not mine, Chad internalizes. He reaches into his inner coat lining, pulls out the mask, and puts it over his face. As the mask closes over his face, he realizes that he is in the parking lot of the store and may not want to go too close to the building wearing a mask and a trench coat. Chad quickly commits all and takes off the coat. He feels so awkward and just knows that this is a mistake. What if someone sees him at his car? All they would have to do is get the plate number and they could figure out his identity. But he is not about to stop trusting God now. After all that he has been through, he is more scared of not obeying God than being found out. He walks away from the car as quickly as possible after depositing the coat in the vehicle. A man and a woman come out of the store and look in the direction of Jesus Freak as he speed walks away from the vehicle. Did he just break into that car? The male voice questions. Just keep walking, darling. Don't even look over there. We're too close to the lawless zone to get involved. Let's just call the police if you have to do something, the woman replies. Nah, I'm good. It's not my car, the man says dismissively. From behind, he hears someone else saying, What in the world is up with that guy? Is he serious? Chad starts to walk toward the D-line to the abandoned buildings he used to go to at night, seeking to get away from all the attention. Suddenly, he stops. Why not? I have to go somewhere. Just tell me where if not there. Someone is going to call the police and think I'm trying to rob the store, Chad asserts under his breath. He can tell that a small breeze is whooshing by, but his costume does not allow him to feel it to its fullest. His ears catch hold of words that come from people going into the store for their morning coffee. Hey, that's him. Well, I've never seen him, but I'm pretty sure that's him, one voice says. Another says, well, he is wearing all white, but what would he be doing out here? In daylight, no less. It's probably just some guy who heard the rumors and is trying to cash in. Look, his whites don't even match. Chad gets even more uncomfortable as he paces back and forth, listening for an answer to where he needs to go now. Fear creeps in, with all manner of paranoia and excuses to leave. But Chad stands fast, waiting to hear from God. People come and go and take notice of him, but surprisingly, the police never show up. He makes sure not to go back near the car. While there's no crowd at the store, the people come and go steadily. This pattern continues for almost an hour. Finally, Jesus Freak gets an answer. And the answer is almost as bad as the waiting for the answer. You want me to go into the lawless zone on foot dressed like this in broad daylight? I'm gonna get killed. Can I just go home or even stay here? The cops don't even go there. And with good reason, Jesus Freak converses within. Suddenly, he begins to contemplate the consequences of just going home and leaving all the hero stuff behind. He thinks about just asking God to forgive him for his disobedience and moving on with his life. After all, God is a forgiving God, he thinks. I'm not going there, God, Chad converses within. Outwardly, he is standing still in the back of the parking lot with his head down. Onlookers wonder what he is doing just standing there. What can I possibly do in a place that riddled with crime? I am your servant, but... No, my life belongs to you. You can handle me how you see fit, but this just seems like a plot to get me killed. No, I trust you, Lord. I don't like this, but nevertheless. And with that, JF turns and makes his way into the lawless zone. There is no barrier to the lawless zone per se, except the one that is in the minds of the people who live around it. The boundary is well known by all, but there's no wall, no fence, no gorge, no sea, or anything physical keeping things separated. Sure, the terrain is rough and overgrown, but nowhere near impossible to navigate. He comes out of the thicket and finds himself behind a scrapyard. It's a very run-down and messy place, even for a junkyard. Looking at the condition of the main building, it is easy to see that the facility is no longer in operation. A clanking noise can be heard coming from the inside of the yard, and curiosity takes off with Jesus Freak's mind. If this place is closed down, why is there so much sound coming from in there? He wonders. Somewhere inside, he would prefer to check out the noise in the abandoned yard than to continue further into the lawless zone. He cautiously goes toward the noise. The white outfit makes stealth difficult, to say the least. He finds piles of junk to conceal himself behind as he makes his way in. From one pile to another, he travels as quietly as possible. The sound not only continues, but he starts to make out a voice. The voice is young, but still unintelligible. The closer he gets, he realizes that the voice belongs to a young boy. You will die today, and everyone you know. Ah! Exclaims the voice. Jesus Freak positions himself behind a junk pile, and he can tell from the sound clarity that looking around the pile will reveal all that is going on. He slowly peeks around the corner and sees a young African-American boy throwing rocks at cans. The boy has a bat strapped to his back. The sight fascinates Jesus Freak. He watches the kid train for a moment from behind the pile of junked-out cars, but he soon realizes that the kid is so into his training that he would not be noticed even if he were standing right behind the boy. Jesus Freak takes his time and finds a low pile of junk to make his sitting area so he can observe. He considers that this could be the reason that God brought him out to the lawless zone. Maybe God wants him to meet this kid. He even wonders if this kid could be his sidekick or something, because no one ever knows exactly why God causes people to encounter one another. And often, he throws in a little surprise. Looking at the kid, he sees determination and fierce intensity. Seeing how the kid seems to be unafraid, and this within the area of the lawless zone, makes Jesus Freak a little ashamed that he was so apprehensive about going into the lawless zone. As Jesus Freak watches, he notices that, as intense as the kid's training is, he truly lacks the talent for aiming and fighting and such. Perhaps with lots of training over years, the kid could become a great hero, but it certainly won't be anytime soon. Jesus Freak watches for as long as he can, but then feels compelled to help the kid with advice on how to throw. "Hey kid, what are you doing?" Jesus Freak asks. The kid's light brown skin turns white as the sound of Jesus Freak's voice invades his personal space. He was clearly unaware that he was being watched the whole time. His heart beats quickly in his chest, and his head snaps back and forth, trying to find the source of the sound. In his feverish attempt to locate the sound, he overlooks Jesus Freak 2 or 3 times. Jesus Freak stands up to make sure that the kid's eyes lock onto his movement. "Who is it? Who's there?" the kid says frantically. The all-white outfit is reminiscent of an apparition, and for a small second, the kid is terrified, but he comforts himself saying that it cannot be so. Still, he is nervous because of the strange man that stands before him, so cool and calm. "It's okay, kid. I think I may be here to help you," Jesus Freak says. "Hold the rock firmly in your hand. Strength comes from the force of your arm, but the aim is in the release of your hand. I'll show you if you like." The kid looks befuddled for a moment. His brow wrinkles and his nose furrows. "Why would you help me? You don't even know me, do you? You don't sound familiar. Are you someone I know?" the kid says. Jesus Freak replies, "Don't be silly, kid. What's your name? And why are you out here?" "I have to get revenge, and I will, okay? I'll get my revenge. I have to get stronger so I can," the kid says. "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord," Jesus Freak retorts. "You should find something better to use your time on. Perhaps I was wrong. Maybe I'm not here to help you." "But you have to, mister. Aren't you the guy that people have been talking about recently with the white clothes, who beats up criminals and quotes the Bible? You're exactly who I need, okay?" the kid pleads. For a second, Jesus Freak is thrown off. He had no idea the people in the lawless zone had been talking about him. Had his fame really reached as far as the lawless zone? Why? Because he had stopped some robberies and muggings? He wonders if that is enough to start conversations about him in a place like this. "No, kid. You have the wrong one. I don't do revenge," Jesus Freak sternly admonishes. "That's only because you don't understand, okay?" the kid says with sincerity dripping from every word. Just as passionate as he is in his training, he is in speaking. His words come out fast as he rushes to get it all in. "My name is Jacob, okay? I am 12 years old, okay? I need your help, okay? I don't understand it, but my brother, he was like you, okay? Only he was 15, and you sound old." Jesus Freak staggers, but shrugs off the insult and continues to listen to Jacob. "But he was a hero around here, and he would get involved with other people for no apparent reason. He was good to people, and I looked up to him, okay? He was always a really good fighter and would use his fighting skills to help out people that were in trouble. He may have been 15, but he could beat up some adults, okay? Sometimes he would not even fight. He would just break up a fight to keep people from getting hurt, okay? I'm not sure why he did it, and I always told him that he was going to get hurt someday about getting in other people's business, especially around here, you know? Even cops don't interfere here. It's the lawless zone, okay? He wasn't afraid, though. He wasn't afraid of nothing and always wanted to help people however he could. Then some stupid gangster killed him for no good reason. They didn't have real beef, okay?" At that, the kid's eyes fill with tears and begin to run while he talks on. Jesus Freak notices that the kid's black hair is kind of shiny and glistens in the sun. It is so curly that it forms many individual balls on his head. It seems to add to the kid's innocent image. Jesus Freak listens attentively as the young man speaks through his tears. "You would think that he and my brother had some kind of fight or problem with each other with the way he did him, but it wasn't like that, okay? The creep was just mad because he wanted my brother to join his gang because he had seen him fight before. But my brother didn't want to join a gang. He only fought to help people, okay? So my brother told him no. And at first, the big goon just kept asking ever so often, and my brother told him no over and over again. But it's like he did not learn, okay? Finally, when he got fed up one day, I was walking with my brother like always, okay? He came up and asked again, but this time he said, "If you refuse me, you'll get hurt." My brother still told him no, right to his face, okay? He wasn't afraid of nothing and no one. The gangster guy left us alone right then and went away. A couple of days later, my brother was walking me home, and right in our path up ahead was the same guy. This time, he had a small crew with him, okay? My brother knew what was going on, so he grabbed my hand, and we ran through someone's yard to the next street, and the guys chased after us, okay? I wasn't as fast as my brother, but he held on to my hand and made me run faster by pulling me with him. No matter where we went, we ran into one of the thugs and had to turn another way. That's when my brother had me hide while he went on and checked out the path ahead, okay? I knew what he was doing, so I didn't talk back. He was just getting rid of me so he would not have to worry about me while he fought, okay? Why was I so weak? There's a slight pause in the kid's monologue as he contemplates his weakness. His fists clench up tight while water continues to fall from his eyes. Jesus Freak does not speak or try to force Jacob to continue the story. He recognizes that Jacob is dealing with some issues. After a moment, Jacob regains enough of his composure to continue on. Okay, so my brother, he fought those guys as hard as he could, but it was too many of them. That's when the guy who kept asking him to join came up and pulled out two short pole thingies. With help from his friends, he was able to get the upper hand on my brother, okay? And he hit my brother over and over until he stopped moving. I couldn't do anything but watch. I was so scared, but I won't be anymore. I will get my revenge. I find out that the guy's name is Screamer, and I'm gonna make him pay, okay? In the distance, gunshots can be heard. The kid is unaffected by the sound, which sort of startles Jesus Freak. He looks up at Jesus Freak and says, "You gotta help me." Jesus Freak feels for the kid and takes time to think about a proper answer, knowing that just telling the kid no would be a great disappointment. "You don't know who this guy is?" "I'm certain that his mother did not name him Screamer. And even if you did know who he was, you would still have to find him." "Okay, so maybe I don't know his real name, but I do know who he is, and I know where he is too," Jacob says. Not thinking about where he is, Jesus Freak comes in with, "Which brings me to this. Why haven't you gone to the police about this?" He already knows the answer, but does not realize it until the question has fully left his lips. The kid responds excitedly, "Are you kidding me, mister? I did. But they say they issued a warrant, but they are not gonna arrest him unless he comes out of the lawless zone. This is the lawless zone. The lawless zone. And he is in a hideout. If you don't want to help, that's fine. I'm going to find him and end his life like he did my brothers. And if..." Jesus Freak cuts him off. "Enough said, kid." He realizes that the police would not launch an investigation and try to arrest someone in the lawless zone, especially in a hideout. The risk is too great, and they would lose too many men. No one would authorize that for the sake of a 15-year-old kid. In that moment, he realizes that the kid has a right to feel cheated. There's almost no chance that anything will ever be done about the loss of his hero, his brother, who took such good care of him and those around him. It seems unfitting for a hero to die so violently and nothing be done about it. But that is exactly what the situation is. "I will not help you get your revenge, kid. And that's that. However, I will help you get justice for your brother's death. And that's my only offer. I will need your help to do it, though." Jesus Freak insists. "What good is justice? He needs death. That's the only justice that would possibly be fair," Jacob exclaims. Jesus Freak turns to go sit down. Jacob assumes that his response has prompted Jesus Freak to leave. "Wait," he yells, reaching out with his left hand. "I'll take your help. And I'll help you too. Come on," Jacob beckons. Jesus Freak looks around at the kid. He's a little confused as to what's going on. "Huh? Come on what?" he asks. Jacob answers, "Come on with me, and I'll show you where he is and how to get in. There's a secret pathway, and I know them all." "Hold on now, kid. Let's not rush in. We have to think this through a little. and take our time. Your knowledge of how to get in and move around in the building will be the key. First, where's this building? Jesus Freak inquires. It's in the center of the big square, okay? It used to be called the Transit Building, but now we call it that really big building, okay? The kid replies. Now can we go? Jesus Freak is stunned at the kid's impatience and inability to reason and plan. We aren't going in today, kid. We have to plan and prepare first. Jesus Freak informs him, I must prepare myself. Do you know how to tell time? Of course I do, mister, okay? Do I look like a first grader to you? Jacob snaps back. His face frowns up in displeasure. That's not what I meant, kid. Look, I will meet you here tomorrow at 5 p.m., and we will go forward with the plan. I have to go do research and check out my armor before we do this, Jesus Freak asserts. His insides feel like oatmeal, all soft and squishy. A slight queasiness saturates his body, but he never lets the kid see how nervous he is. Inside, he wants to tell the kid that he is sorry, but he can't help him. But that's not what the Holy Spirit is leading him toward. Jacob stops to think for a second while staring at Jesus Freak. It doesn't look like you have armor on under there, he comments. More than you know. It's a special kind of armor, and it can't be seen. Some people call it spirit armor, Jesus Freak says. Will Jesus Freak be able to survive the lawless zone long enough to make it to that really bad gang's headquarters? And if he does, will he be able to bring justice, or will Jacob get his revenge? Or will they both find themselves at the mercy of that really bad gang? Find out when you get your copy of Jesus Freak, the Reluctant Hero. And join us for the signing/release party. Details to follow.